Welcome back to this week's midweek mini episode of the Wellhouse Exorcism. This is your ghost of a host of the most, Shanna.
It's Wednesday night, and it's PukwuPJ.
Yay! Before we begin, I have a joke for you, PukwuPJ.
Uh-huh.
Why was the ghost sentenced to prison?
Why?
For possession. There you go. This week is episode 17 of our midweek mini episodes, and for this week, I want to once again head back to my stomping grounds for a sad, dark tale in New England.
But first, something very, very important we have to address. If you listen to Games Overboard, then you have already heard about it. And I'm going to make a whole separate announcement video, too. If you listen to any of our podcasts on YouTube, after August 26th, you will not be able to do that.
Oh, because we have Acast?
Yes. All of our old episodes will still be available, but nothing new is going to be posted, except for like our videos and things like that, but our episodes will not be posted. And the reason why is because we use Acast, as Shanna just said, to upload our episodes. And what normally happens is they will then, the night we post the episode, it automatically gets copied over to YouTube. But YouTube doesn't use... So what happens is all of our episodes, like whether you listen to it from Apple or iHeartRadio or Spotify or anything else, they all come from one link. So that way we can count how many people download the episode. We can count how long people listen to it. And also if ads start coming, like if we ever get to a part where we start putting ads in, it can dynamically insert ads. I don't know if I ever really want to do that.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
No.
But for those who do ads, this is why they're taking it out of YouTube, because that link, that one link that every app gets the episodes from, called the RSS feed, that is not the link that YouTube uses.
Yeah.
When they copy it over to YouTube, it makes a brand new link. And so those dynamic ads don't get copied over. So influencers, podcasters don't get money off the YouTube videos. And a whole bunch of other things too. But like that's the big reason Acast says that they're sunsetting this ability. So just so you know, all of our other content, anything we normally post to YouTube that's a video, will still be coming to YouTube. But these minisodes and our weekly episodes will not be coming to YouTube. So if you like this content, you need to make sure that you are finding it through a podcast app.
Boo!
Yeah.
But
So
okay.
tell your friends, A, about the podcast, and B, that if they listen to the show on YouTube, to get a podcast app if they don't have one already and start listening to us on that for a couple different reasons. One, whenever we do our giveaways, those YouTubers like who listen to us, you're not added to that number. You know, when we did our 10K giveaway, that was not counting YouTube listeners because they don't get counted. So if you all transfer over to the apps.
Yep, Spotify.
Yeah.
Podcast app, whatever it is. I think it's just called Podcast.
Yeah, we have one that's just called the Podcast app. And I love the interface for that one. I really do. Yeah, that's just a heads up, everyone. August 26th is the last time you're going to hear from us on YouTube, except like for an episode. I need to stress, we're still going to be live streaming on Games Overboard and posting giveaway videos and doing things like that. But our
episodes will only be on... Okay. Thank you, honey. All right. My references for this evening for our sad, dark tale in New England will be New England Lighthouse Stories, New England Lighthouses, a Virtual Guide, and seacoastalonline.com.
Lighthouses, are we?
I figured you would get that. Yes, we're doing a lighthouse tonight.
You're not fond of me lobster.
Oh, boy.
You haven't seen that movie. You would not like that movie at all.
And there go all of our Maine listeners.
That is The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. And they're the only two in the entire movie.
So our story this evening. 8 or 9 miles out, in plain sight, Boon Island lifts its solitary shaft aloft like an eternal exclamation mark to the temerity of its builders. There is no comfortable dwelling on that lonely rock, over which storms sweep unchecked. The tower is itself both house and home to the watchmen of the sea, and in great gales a prison from which there is no escape until the return of fine weather. Samuel Adams Drake, The Pine Tree Coast, 1891. Yes.
Bum, 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 bum. Oh, that's not the cold
I
open.
know, right? It could be a cold open. That is our opening to Boon Island.
Cool.
Boon Island is a tiny speck of rock sticking out of the storm-tossed Atlantic Ocean. It's a few miles offshore of Maine, near the town of York. It is a 13-foot lighthouse, and it also happens to be the tallest one in all of New England.
At 13 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some articles put it at 14 feet.
Oh.
I know.
Scandalous.
The story I'm about to tell you.
Everyone lies about the size of their lighthouse.
This is a professional appropriate podcast, PJ. We do not say those kinds of that. Keep that to Games Overboard, please, and thank you. The story I'm about to tell you has gone into folklore and legend in Maine, as proper documentation from the mid-1800s regarding this incident was not properly written down and recorded. Who would have thought?
It was improperly written down.
They didn't have me.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Grammar was terrible.
Actually, no, at this point, it would
They
be
didn't
fine.
capitalize anything.
Because...
It was improper.
At this time, the Webster Dictionary had come out. As we well know, living at a lighthouse is a secluded, tragic affair. While it may sound whimsical and romantic, months alone can lead to madness. Lighthouses are also known locations of tragic accidents. This story has both madness and accidents.
And Cthulhu?
No, but that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I did not include Lovecraft in this. Sorry,
Oh,
honey.
All right.
Boon Island Lighthouse measures 400 square yards. The rocky shoal on which it resides is roughly 700 by 300 feet, and most of it lies underwater at high tide. It has been the site of many a shipwreck over the years, but it also has many sightings of a certain female ghost. Many people believe this ghost is the distraught wife of a former lighthouse keeper named Lucas Bright. She went insane after her husband drowned during a gale storm. Do you want to hear the sad story of this woman?
I'm ready. I'm just terrified by the fact that most of these 13-foot lighthouses underwater during high tide.
The ground around it.
Oh, the island.
The lighthouse is fine. The island just disappears during a storm.
Okay.
Which is important for the story.
Oh, great. Okay.
Sometime in the mid-1800s, First Assistant Lucas Bright arrived at Boon Island Lighthouse with his new wife, Katherine. Their life together would be short, as only 4 months later, a severe December nor'easter would send gale-force winds to the rock, sending huge waves over the rocky island.
I was going to say it's going to be short like the lighthouse, but...
Anyway, as luck would have it, Lucas Bright wasn't feeling that well. In fact, he had been sick the past week, and he was still physically exhausted.
You might say he was unwell.
He was not bright. Get it?
Like the lighthouse.
However, lighthouse keeping is a 24/7 job, and he knew that he needed to check the tower to ensure the lantern was lit. That was the only way any mariner stuck in the storm would be able to find safety near the shore. Lucas was smart in that he tied a rope to his waist, so that way he would not be lost to the storm. He also kissed his wife Katherine as he left their home, and then into the storm he went. Biting winds and spray tossed him around as he headed to the tower. As the waves crashed all around him, they coated the rocks in sheets of ice, making this trek only that more dangerous.
Great.
For the rocks that were visible, they were also ice. Lucas made it to the door and tried to secure the bolt to the door of the tower. Just then, a huge wave swept over the rocks and covered Lucas head to toe. He lost his grasp on the bolt, slipped on the ice-covered rocks, and fell into the freezing waters. There he drowned, having been pulled down by the waves and frozen from the waters. Sadly, his wife Katherine saw the accident as it happened. In horror...
Oh, watch your step! Oh!
Pretty sure she's like, ah, the whole time, but in horror, she ran outside to save him. But it was too late. She managed to grab hold of the rope that tied her husband to the house and pulled him in. Even though the rough nor'easter attacked on all sides, she somehow managed to pull her husband's body to the shore. She dragged it over the icy rocks and into the lighthouse tower. Her strength sapped, she left his body at the foot of the stairs. She simply sat down beside him and held his frozen hand and allowed her grief to overcome her shock. And I just want to say, she pulls his body out of the water during a nor'easter. Gale force winds hitting her. Icy rocks. Somehow gets him into the lighthouse. He could have at least been alive. I'm just saying, she worked really hard. What was
lazy oaf?
What was Lucas doing? As her shock wore off, Katherine knew she needed to complete her husband's work. She had to tend the lantern in the lighthouse so the mariners would be safe. According to William O. Thompson, the Kennebunk author of 26 books, including stories and legends along the Maine coast, he says, she held his hand, and she kept the light going for 5 days, climbing 164 steps each time. Finally, the lantern went out because she had run out of fuel. So, for 5 days and nights in the ceaseless storm, Katherine painstakingly took over all the lighthouse duties. She climbed those stairs in freezing temperatures to light the lantern. She ate what little food was left, and she barely slept. Instead, she would stay near her husband's frozen corpse, alternately holding his hand and hugging him.
Nope. I couldn't.
Yeah, that's I'm kind of like...
It grosses me out.
Yeah, I think of Annabelle Lee, thanks to Poe.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, it just says mid-1800s. He wrote Annabelle Lee at about that time. So I'm just saying, Annabelle Lee was written about the death of his wife. But maybe he got the idea from this. Because he took all the stories from real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it is in a kingdom by the sea. And there's a sepulcher by the sea. Oh my gosh. Anyway. After the storm dissipated, rescuers were able to finally head out to the lighthouse. By this time, Katherine was out of fuel and also exhausted, so the light in the lighthouse went out. The light ceasing is what led fishermen from York on the rescue mission, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of obvious when they need to go do some rescuing.
Something must be wrong. With the seas calm, they headed the 6 miles over water to Boon Island. However, they could not find anyone in the house when they searched. So, they went to the tower to investigate further. What they found horrified them. The tower's temperature had fallen to a chilly 10 degrees below zero. Here they found the corpse of Lucas Bright, and beside him, Katherine holding him, stark, raving mad. The rescuers were able to bring Katherine and the body of Lucas ashore, but it was too late for them both. Katherine had completely lost her mind, and she died only a short time later after being rescued. Again, it was 10 degrees below zero.
Yeah.
And she's physically and mentally exhausted, so there was no way they're going to save her. Even though Katherine and Lucas passed away, it seems Katherine has never left the island. A tortured-looking young woman in white has been seen lurking around the island, occasionally cutting the dusk with shrieks of despair that warn all who try to come close. In truth, many mariners and keepers have laid claim to having seen the ghost of a young, sad-faced woman. She's on the rocks right at dusk. Sometimes they hear her moan and screeches.
Watch your step!
Other keepers of the lighthouse have claimed to hear knocking on their door, and as they open it, they see a woman in white heading to the tower. Even more interesting, when a keeper brings their cat or dog to Boon Island, most of those animals refuse to go into the lighthouse tower. Some dogs have even been seen chasing something around the rocks and barking as if giving a warning. So, that seems like it's all folklore, okay? But I actually have real people and their stories.
You have the people?
Right here. I tied them up and brought them into the basement.
I mean, I was wondering what that sound was coming from the other room.
In the early 1970s, one Coast Guard keeper became a believer in ghosts when he saw something he could not forget. He and a fellow crewman were just off the tiny island fishing, and they drifted too far to make it back in time to turn on the light before dark. He and this fellow crewman knew there was no one on the island, but somehow the light shone brightly when the keepers finally returned.
Like a diamond.
Sometimes. Which should not have been possible. He also stated that he heard doors opening and closing, and when he would go to turn on the signal for fog, he felt as if someone was watching him. Other keepers and visitors to the island have reported hearing a woman's voice saying, "Luke.
Luke!"
Hold on. When did Lizzie get here? Lizzie, bored and go away. And just for validity, I have a name for another story on Boon Island. Former Coast Guard keeper Dave Wells reported that one time the station's Labrador retriever chased, quote, something from one end of the island to the other and back again. He couldn't see what the dog was chasing, but he later stated, "We figured the island must be haunted, but nothing bothered us." So many mariners and locals believe that the ghost is Katherine watching over the island for her beloved Lucas. What are your thoughts?
I could see it being both, really. They both died. Like, she essentially died on that island.
Yeah.
And he did die on that island. Both were traumatic events, that would leave them to imprint themselves to the location.
Mm-hmm.
And lighthouses are notorious for being haunted.
Agreed. Because I think it sounds wonderful and whimsical. Lighthouses are so pretty, but they're like the loneliest job ever.
Yeah.
You're out there by yourself for a freaking long time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're lucky, food is brought to you, or you can go to the mainland, but you can't leave your post until someone's there to take over your post.
Yeah.
And Maine weather is absolutely insane. When a storm comes, a storm comes. Like,
yeah,
it's
nor'easters are not fun. Yeah. We get them in PA here, and they're just, ugh.
Yeah, but imagine you're out 6 miles from the land, and you're hitting a nor'easter. It's crazy. Yeah. So, I feel like this place would be haunted regardless, just because of just how sad and isolated it would be.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the lighthouse is about?
Yeah, it's about one guy going crazy in a lighthouse.
Which one goes crazy?
I'm not going to spoil that.
Willem Dafoe? He plays a good crazy person. Is it him?
I'm not going to spoil it for our listeners. One of them goes crazy.
Willem Dafoe.
I'm not saying. And you're never going to watch it because you would hate it.
Why would I hate it?
It's gross. It's just gross.
Gross? Like bloody gross?
No, other things gross.
Although I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, Katherine Bright, Lucas Bright, and people in Maine believe this story. I just wish that there was more that you could research about it. But as they say, like, notoriously, any kind of paperwork 1800s would have been handwritten and it's gone.
Yeah.
So, alas. But the lighthouse is real. You can go see. It's very pretty. But she's actually called the Lighthouse Bride now. That's the story.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like now it's just like a part of their folklore.
They won't just call her Katherine?
No. Because Catherine the Great's already been taken. And Catherine the Lighthouse Keeper does not have a ring to it.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse Bride does sound pretty cool.
It's a pretty awesome nickname.
Exactly.
Do you think it's haunted?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm from
That was easy.
I'm from New England. I believe this. I don't believe in the Jersey Devil. I believe in this. Well, just because, like, even if she's not haunting it, there has to be some kind of residual energy because there was just so much torture emotionally and physically for her that there had to be some kind of an imprint. Like she was there with the dead body of her husband for 5 days. She is there freezing to death and really only doing her job until she can't anymore. Once those guys get there, I think she could finally, die because her watch was over.
Yeah. Now, it does sound like it's all residual haunt.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think it's just...
there's nothing intelligent there. So wherever they are, they're probably in a better place. There's just this energy there on the island.
Yep. I think it's interesting that she's seen in white, because we see the ladies in white all the time. It's such a classic kind of ghost.
It's such a trope, at this point.
And only one person said that she was kind of filmy and kind of see-through. Everyone else, sees this person. Like, it's just a full... bodied apparition. I think it's interesting that the dogs and cats won't go into the tower, and the one dog was chasing
something. Yeah.
However, it could have been chasing a bug. It could have been chasing a bird.
They pick up on that energy too. You never know.
But it's a Labrador. It'd be like, pet me.
No, Labradors are dumb. I had so many Labradors in my time.
They're so cute, though. You want to squish them.
Yeah.
I love them.
We were just playing with one today.
That's true. Gabby Abby. As her name is now. She's saying her name's not Abby evermore. It's going to be Gabby Abby.
Yep.
Well, anyway, that's my story, and I think it's haunted. The Lighthouse Bride.
I like it. It's a good one.
And you need to go to Maine. It's legit, man. Go see Boon Island. It's beautiful. Just don't stay there.
Ever.
You're stuck out there 6 miles. You're stuck out there. So.
Yeah, especially not in the wintertime. Don't do it.
No. Well, they didn't really have a choice. Imagine, it was also December. She lost her husband around Christmas.
Yeah.
I wonder Catherine's sad. 4 months into their marriage, bam, he's dead. It's ridiculous.
You'd think they'd have, a rope that connects the buildings, like people did for, blizzards and stuff back in the day, that you could hang on to and follow and things like that.
Well, I think that's why he tied himself.
He did tie himself up, but like, I don't know. If he had that rope to follow, I wonder if he would have been...
Well, he got to the tower no problem.
It was when he was unlocking the door.
Yeah. The wave came and hit him and he took him out. I mean, when you got those big waves, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know? So, no. I don't even think, like, if he had been tied to, like, if
just
he
would have taken the rope.
Well, I think he would have, he probably would have hit his head off something. It would have hurt him, you know? Well, in any case, let's not think about all that sad, depressing stuff, but instead say thank you to our listeners. One more time, if you listen to us on YouTube, stop.
Yeah, just stop it.
You could get Spotify or I don't know,
iHeartRadio,
Apple Podcasts. Just get a podcast app. If you're on Samsung, there's mine came with a podcast app. Just listen to it that way. I'm pretty sure Googling could probably get us better than on YouTube at this point.
It's directly off our website. You can do it that way.
Go onto our website, just because YouTube's stupid. I mean, YouTube's great. Everything is awesome.
Yeah, it's so great. Their copyright laws totally aren't illegal. The way they claim everything, like, that's not legal.
Everything is cool when you're part of it. Anyway.
Whatever.
So, but thank you for listening to us. Tell your friends. Have them listen in.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Stephen Smith for being on Sunday. And thank you in advance to House of Many Stairs, whose episodes will start airing this coming Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you to Kevin Paul for choosing us as the keynote speakers for Christians of the Paranormal, which is coming up in October. But overall, thank you, all of you listeners. Love you guys. You are wonderful. I love hearing from you all.
If you have any spooky stories for us, any encounters of your own, or any recommendations, we just got another one from Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, from Anthony about Louisiana.
Gotta do some more research. So thank you for listening to the Wellhouse Exorcism. Find us on Instagram as Wellhouse Exorcism, on Twitter X as Wellhouse_Exorc, or on Facebook under Games Overboard because we're a subsidiary. Feel free to hop on our website as well, Games Overboard. You can click on that contact link and you can email us. We want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
But as always,
think spooky thoughts.